Hey guys, it's Penelope in London, and what I'm going to share with you, we've got some shifts going on this week. On the 9th of, I believe on the 9th of January, January 9, I'm going to show you solar fire in a moment, but if you can see this chart currently, this is the 9th of January. So let's just show you this. If you want your own chart, go to AstroSeek, and if you want your astrology chart and transits looked at, then do drop a line to me. My booking page is below. But now we're going to go forward with, we've got here, you can see that Venus is 0 degrees. This is the 9th. And then we've got Mercury, 0 degrees of Capricorn, Mercury, 0 degrees of Aquarius. And then we have Mars, 0 degrees of Taurus. So we've got some massive shifts going on in energy. And what I would also point out is that we've got Saturn and Jupiter. We've got Jupiter now at 4 degrees, Saturn at 2 in Aquarius, and Mercury, I believe on the 30th of January, it's going to go retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, which is fascinating as we go through these changes. We can see that things have been rather busy with, there's more lockdowns come in and such. Mars has now moved off Pluto, but we have got other things going on that sort of are dictating the current energy of the continuation of lockdowns and new, we're being told that there's a new strain of this virus. So if we look at Mars in the sign in a moment, we'll look, when I swap over to solar fire, we'll look at the Mars, Mercury and Venus. And then briefly at this chart, what you can see is the sun is sextile to the moon at the moment. So if I give you an example, the sun is sextile to the moon. The moon's at 24 degrees of Scorpio at the moment. You can see here, if we go to the moon is in Scorpio. And then we've got the sun is also sextile to Neptune. So we have here the sun moves a degree a day. It takes a year to go around the chart. So the sun is sextile to Neptune. And then the moon moves rather quickly. So it's sextiling Mercury, trine to Neptune, and then also sextile to Pluto. Mercury is squaring Mars right now. So we can see that communication is here. There's a full-on square there. So our communication and our way forward, it's like there's a battle, because also Taurus doesn't really like change. It likes things to go steady and slowly. And in Aquarius, it's to do with our thinking, which can be rather shocking as well, because it's then ruled by Uranus. So there's many ways we can look at astrology. We're all going to have our own throw on it. Mercury is also conjunct Saturn. So this is about restriction. Saturn is about restriction. And then Mercury is square to Uranus. And again, that's to do with shocks. So Mercury is squaring to Uranus here. It's moving, it's applying. And then also we've got Lilith, which is the shadow. So that's also applying. And then Mercury is conjunct Pluto, but it's leaving Pluto, but it is conjunct to Pluto currently. And Venus is trine to Mars. So Venus is going to be trine. I will say actually that moon is on the 9th. So don't be confused with what I've said there. Right now, it's probably, we'll have a look on solar fire, but it takes 2.5 days to move through a sign. So we look at it, I'm looking at the chart of the 9th here. Then we've got Venus trine to Mars. Venus is trine to Uranus. So this is our needs. And a trine is a softer energy. It's then we've got Mars squared Jupiter. Mars is squaring Saturn. So, again, we've got tough stuff going on there. And then Mars is conjunct Uranus, which is moving on in. And I believe by the 20th of the month inauguration, that's going to be conjunct this whole lot here. And then Jupiter is square to Uranus, Saturn square Uranus. And then the node is in conjunct to the sun, which causes us a bit of difficulty. And then we've still got the node squaring Neptune. So let's go over to, I will actually add, because I might as well finish this off here, what I'm saying. So the node is square to Neptune. Lilith is square to Jupiter. Lilith square to Jupiter. So Lilith is the shadow and Jupiter is, the bigger picture and truth and law, and also can be grandiosity, depending on how it's used. And then Lilith is also square to Saturn, and Lilith is conjunct to Uranus at this time by 2 degrees. And Chiron, which is our wound, our hypersensitivity, is square to Venus, so that can make us feel rather wounded at the moment. And no doubt many of us are, because we can't get on with our lives. And also we've got Chiron sextile to Jupiter and Chiron sextile to Saturn. There's more going on, but let's go now over to solar fire. And here we go. So what we've got, this is the 5th of January, this date here. And I'm going to take the chart forward. This is hours. So the moon right now is 27 degrees of Libra. And if we go forward by 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, in 5 hours, it's going to be in the sign of Libra for 2.5 days. Okay. So this is where we'll be, this is more to do with how we're relating to each other at this time. And on that day, if we go then forward by days, we're going to go to the 9th, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 9th. So we can see a lot more going on here. And I've just read out to you what that means, but I'm going to now tell you what Mars means in the sign of Taurus. So look, Mars is here. This is going to be 1 degree at this time. And it's basically, Mars is a symbol of what we want to get, but it's also to do with our desires and our courage and our will, and it helps us to overcome obstacles, but at the same time, it can make us very impulsive. And the libido of the mind, it's like we don't have complete control over our minds, which, being human, will react to things, and we can be compulsive, dependent on that. So what you would want to do is, for instance, if we took this chart, all of this up here is in my second house. I've got Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter in my second house still. And that means Mercury is now in my second house. So you want to look at your chart, and you need your birth time in order to do that. So this would be transposed onto your chart, and this would show you where the planets are, what they're doing, and what houses they're working in for you, and what you're feeling currently as well. So Mars in Taurus is where we do not like to waste time daydreaming. It's like we want to make plans, but it's where we're realistic and we plod on and accomplish bit by bit. And it's where we make a steady progress to our material goals. So if we understand that Mars takes 2 years to move around the chart, so we can say, unless there's a retrograde, which happens every 2 years, that Mars is basically going to be in the sign of Taurus for 2 months. So that will happen in a particular house for you. This is going to be in my second house. So this is where I'll be dealing with my values and moving ahead with looking at my money and things that I value, and my morals as well. And then we can also see that it's where it indicates a change in direction. And also it can be to do with our personal or professional changes that are irreversible. And also it's it's slow gear in Mars. It's like taking down a notch. It's not like like Mars in Aries is very fast and furious, but Mars in Taurus, and I have Mars in Taurus at birth actually, so I am having my Mars return, which happens for all of us every 2 years. Then if we look, we've got Mercury up here at 1 degree on the 9th of January. And Mercury is our thinking, communication, and intellect and learning. It's emails, it's communication of all sorts, and also to do with siblings and short journeys and marketing as well. So in Aquarius, we don't really care what we're writing as long as we write, and it's where we can, flirt with abstract ideas. It's very scientific up there with predictions and intuition. So who knows, with vaccines, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as Mercury moves through, because, now we've been told there's a new strain. So Mercury up there and the communication to the collective from governments as such, and what we think for ourselves about the technology, or it could be to do with technology as well. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly what's going to come up. But then it will go retrograde, so there'll probably be a huge rethink go on there, and then it will go forward again after, it will be retrograde for 3 weeks in the sign of Aquarius. So it's going to be there for some time, that's for sure. And we can have a quick look and see how long. And then we've got, it can be where Mercury feels good in air signs, but it can be a bit shallow in them also. So, we can be not go into the depth because Mercury is left brain and it's what's in front of us that we're dealing with. And Venus up here is to do with it's ours where we're sensual. It's the ruler of Taurus. It's also the ruler of Libra. And it can be to do with us harmony and pleasure and whatever. But this is now it's going to be in Capricorn. So we've got to consider that. But it's also in Capricorn, it can be where we are withdrawn and we don't want to express our feelings. So if you think of Venus and you put it in a sign like Capricorn, it changes. If you take Venus, I have Venus in Aries. So I'm very impulsive when it comes to matters of creativity and love. And, I sort of push, and being Aries, it's like, I want to, be out there and, showing interest in things, and then impulsiveness, which I enjoy actually myself. It's in my 5th house. So the 5th house would also be, the ruler would be the sun. So it works in a particular way, being in the sign it's in and the house it's in. So Venus, it's where, we don't show our feelings to the public, and, we have to be secret about our feelings and emotions. And we don't like to get involved with others unless they're showing an interest in some way. So we might go through a period where we quieten down and we're only going to step forward with people if they show interest in us. It's also where we can be attracted to others and be more straightforward, as well. And it's got traditional values of loyalty and stability as well, which we need some of that right now, some stability because Venus is not just about love, it's about our needs, and it's about our inner needs. So what we need internally. And also we want to be able to trust as well. So if we then look briefly at, let's take Venus now, if we go back to, no, actually, let's go to Mars. If I explain to you that Mars there, Mars has got certain traits. Taurus, if we look at Mars in Taurus. So Taurus, the key words are survival, fertility, procreation, preservation, and it's our inner resources, values. And also that's the 2nd house, yes, self-sufficiency, security, where we can feel isolated or withdraw. There can be stagnation as well. It's about our personal worth and value. It's where we can shut down and suppress our emotions as well. And, maybe hoarding, and also to do with poverty. It's where we can be cautious, materialistic. It's about possessions, the farmer, the landowner, the thief, the carpenter, and so forth. So when we take that and we look at Mars and the direction, we can understand the qualities. With Venus in Capricorn up here, we would basically, if we look at the sign of Capricorn, then we're looking at authority, judgment, maturity, older age, and judgment, repression, oppression, grief, where we can feel punished or be punishing. It's about discipline, our fear, where we can be rigid, paralysis, conformity, isolation. It's to do with man-made law and our ancestors, and it can also be to do with self-defeat and guilt and futility and boundaries as well, because the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. So you put Venus in a sign and we can begin to see how that plays out. It's also to do with politics, responsibility. With depression, we've got to watch out for that for all of us at the moment. If anybody gets depressed, I've got a ladies group, anxiety, PTSD, that you can join if any ladies are listening on Facebook. And also I do 2 groups on Meetup a week for ladies. And with the guys, I think, also, because men can tend to be more inward with their emotions. So don't be afraid to share your emotions with people that, understand you and can hear you out. So, do not, with depression, we've really got to watch that at this time, because we're going to come out of the other end of this. Lockdowns are not going to last forever. And we just need to make sure that we're looking after our physical health and mental health right now, our inner needs. and to solve any issues of hypersensitivity, childhood wounding would be very useful at this time, so that when we come out of lockdown, we're in a better way we can show up in the world. So I hope that helps. With the Mercury and Uranus, we're looking at trauma, mass trauma, splitting. It's where we're unique, and there can be shocks. There can be hyperactivity, liberation from conditioning, which is a good one. It's our individuality, individuation, rebellion. And we might see that step up as well. Who knows with what's going on? You know, people feel very disempowered at this time. It's where we join like-minded groups. So people are joining groups of like-minded people, as people have got differing opinions at this time. And we can have group hysteria. It's secret societies, alienation. It's our hopes and ideals and our dreams. And it's our long-term memory of trauma as well. And our long-term memory is to do with the tribe, community, fragmentation, Prometheus in mythology. It's what can be revolutionary. It's where we can be ostracized or cast out, and the astral plane and telepathy and such like. So let's see where, if we look at Mercury, let's do that. We're going to take this forward by days. So we're going to follow it through, watch Mercury here. And I'll tell you what date that goes retrograde. So it's 26, it stations, there you go. If we go 28, it stations on the 28th, no, 30th it stations. I'm looking at that. On the 30th it stations. And then it will go retrograde on the 1st of February, and then it's going to go all the way back. Let's see where it goes back to. Oh, there you go. So it stations at 11 degrees. It will go back to 11 degrees and station on the 20th of February and station, and then it will go forward again on direct on the 22nd of February. And then it will leave, worth doing this. We're going forward to see when it moves into the sign of Pisces. That will be interesting. There you go. That will be the 16th of March. So, you know, we're looking ahead. But also in March, we will have, you see this here? This is the Mars in Gemini at that point. And if we go forward with that, it's going to cross over the North Node. So that's going to be telling. I'll have to look more into that with an astrologer friend of mine, what the definitions might be there. There you go, Mars has gone over. So go back again. So there's other stuff going on here. I mean, the inauguration date, if we look at that, I'm going to go to the 20th of January, 2021. It sounds so good to say that for some reason, 2021. So we can see at the inauguration, we've got the moon is conjunct to Eris, E-R-I-S. She takes 560 years to move around the chart, and she is the goddess of discord. And you could, the mythology, but very interesting. And then we have also, and look, in Aries, that day, the 20th of January, inauguration. And then we have Mars, 6 degrees of Taurus. We have Uranus, 6 degrees of Taurus, and all conjunct with the shadow. And then we've got the Mercury squaring the nodes still, which has been going on for some time. And then we've also got all of these squares coming down through to Mars, Uranus, and Lilith. So let's see where we're all heading. It will be nice when, you know, I'm thinking there's more to this, but when the nodes, this is moving towards Neptune now, and the South Node is moving away from Neptune. So something may come to light, because the resolution node for this is to do with the South Node. But then we would also begin to look at the rulers, which goes deeper into astrology, which I'm still working on and learning. The rulers I understand, but the depth of astrology is phenomenal. So Pluto, if we look at Neptune and what's the ruler of, you know, if we look at the ruler and where the ruler is, you know, of a planet or what it's ruling, it just, you know, just gives us so much more of the story. So I'll do a bit more work on that for everybody. Okay, Happy New Year, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.